We will begin now. Jai Guru. Okay, so
Jai Guru.
this week I'm going to do the same as before, which is read excerpts from Who Am I? And this week the talk is about happiness as a concept. Okay, so we are always searching for happiness and peace from outside sources because we remain oblivious of our real identity. We wander, travel, roam here and there. We try all sorts of things that will offer us lasting happiness and peace as we attempt to fill that longing within us that is always seeking to connect, share, and be part of a greater whole. Because we don't know who we are, we find ourselves continuously on the move, filling our lives with distractions, seldom able to remain still. We do not know that the destination is within us, that we are the destination. Some people even travel to Peru, Brazil, Costa Rica, and other exotic destinations to experiment with mind-altering drugs at guided rituals. They do this hoping to find themselves, or feeling trapped, they are looking for a way out to break free from their imaginary jails. We are always restless, looking for different forms of entertainment to help us escape from our deep sense of disconnectedness and isolation. We are looking for love to keep the discomfort and pain of our dis-ease at bay. However, we cannot find happiness and peace in the world. We will only find palliatives that offer a temporary fix. We have collected so much baggage throughout our lives, and each day we accrue even more, never pausing to throw some of it out. How many of us take the time, even once in a while, to look at ourselves and find out where we are going or from where we have come? Most of us don't know what we are doing half the time. We are obsessed with our body image, spending much of our time, energy, and money on our appearance. We need diversions all the time to de-stress us, bring us happiness, and lift our spirit. The choices are endless. But when you stop looking for happiness from material sources and instead look within, you will discover that you are the source of happiness and peace. And then you will no longer need to lift your spirit because you will have realized that you are that spirit. That spirit or presence is itself, in essence, spontaneous happiness and spontaneous peace. It does not age. It is forever pristine, untouched, and unaffected. The process you are undergoing is not about accumulating more knowledge. Why? Because your reality is beyond knowledge. Our only concern here is how to go about destroying everything you think you know about yourself. You are on a demolition course that will excavate everything from you that is not you. And for this, you need a metaphorical bulldozer. Let's take a look at the root of the problem. A baby can be compared to a brand new computer with mega storage space. It does not have any files on it, nor any memory. It is clean, empty, and devoid of history. Your spirit is very sensitive. Long before you could talk, you were already absorbing everything you heard and everything around you like a sponge. Your illusory life began with listening and gathering impressions that were recorded and saved onto your hard drive. One by one, these impressions were fed into your beingness, stored in your big computer, and preserved for your imaginary future. For the vast majority of us, these early impressions will remain with us for a lifetime, influencing and shaping our lives until we become aware of them. You constructed your false identity using the concepts at your disposal, which had been added one by one like building blocks. Everything you heard and sensed around you formed your self-perception, perception of the world, and your apparent reality. And in time, and more or less unconsciously, these concepts solidified and became the foundation stones of your existence and reality. Years of listening to what you were told formed your personal identity. And as you developed the personal self, your real identity was obscured and eventually buried and hidden from yourself. The sun always shines, even when the clouds hide it. Similarly, your presence continued to shine, even though it was hidden under your make-believe world. Within the space of a few years, your authentic, untarnished identity was pushed out of view. Alienated from your true nature, your spirit turned away from itself and was instead drawn to the attractions of the imaginary world, where your desires imprisoned you. Put simply, the spirit became attached to the body, to the seen, to the known. And as life took its toll on you, you were trapped by these desires and even more disconnected from your source. As this happened, your free, playful, and spontaneous nature was crushed by society's rules and regulations that were imposed on you. You were suffocated by all those endless social norms, directives, and orders which you had to obey. When you identified with the body, you perceived your unlimited nature as limited. The one omnipresent, unborn self that you are was seen through the small eyes of a human being who was by now utterly convinced that he or she had taken birth and was destined to die. For some of us, the demands of work and home life deadened our spirit and turned us into walking corpses. In this world of duality, these pressures weighed heavily on us. And as it became increasingly difficult, consciously or unconsciously, for us to break free from this feeling of bondage, we settled for a grey existence, with fleeting moments of happiness amid all the strains and stresses of life. You don't have to settle for greyness. You don't have to be like the characters we have all heard stories about, full of regret and remorse down the line. wondering what their lives were all about or what went wrong. No, let the sun shine again. Now you have the opportunity to uncover your true self. How? By demolishing the original building blocks that formed your pseudo-self. The bottom line is that the wrong kind of knowledge conditioned you. Your education was made up of little more than programming, brainwashing, superimpositions, and conformity. The more one was moulded by worldly knowledge, the more the ego or pseudo-identity grew. And as this knowledge fed the ego, the heart, the very core of your being, which not so long ago was open and inviting like a flower, began to close. Your childhood innocence, openness, trust, joy, and happiness, etc., your carefree, intuitive nature, spontaneous understanding, and your essence were all gradually suppressed and hidden. Your spirit, that invisible presence in you, is sensitive and receptive. During these satsangs, you can listen to and understand the most profound knowledge of your reality. You are immutable. Your reality is changeless. The mental or emotional climate may change, but you do not change. Sometimes you are happy, and at other times you feel sad or anxious. Sometimes you are calm and peaceful, and at other times you experience depression. Everything comes and goes, except you. You are always the same. The thoughts may be constant, but they need not disturb you. Just be. The seasons come and go, but you are not going anywhere. You never change. Functioning as a person takes a lot of energy, but you are not a person or a somebody. You are formless and unborn. There is no birth and there is no death. You have nothing to fear. You are immortal, perfect, and free. There is only one obstacle that stands in your way of finding out who you are, and that is for you to carry on thinking that you are somebody, when in fact you are nobody, no body, no thing. Listen to your biography, your story that is everyone's story. Be all ears. You have to hear it, not with the mind and the intellect, but with your whole being. Let it connect with your center. Let this knowledge touch that place deep inside you that is full of longing. And then, with fresh understanding and discrimination, the illusory self will be emptied out. You have embarked on the most incredible voyage of your life, the journey of self-discovery, so that you can find the answer to who am I? Why should you bother? What if you don't find the answer? What will you get? Why put yourself out? And this takes us back to the subject of this talk, real happiness. Because when you truly know yourself, you will leave behind the darkness of ignorance forever. And all your suffering will finally come to an end. What will be the result? The result is causeless, permanent happiness and peace. This process is challenging because you need to forget about everything and discard and surrender all that is not you. The practice is also unavoidably repetitive. Reading, listening, and hearing are potent tools. As you imbibe this knowledge over and over again, the mind loses its power. Accept all that you hear with conviction, letting the knowledge touch you. Listen to it without analysing, as dissecting the knowledge will only bring back the mind. Hammering home the same teachings again and again is essential, so that all the beliefs, faith, and confidence you have in the false notion of I am somebody are permanently crushed. The spell of illusion you have been under is ignorance. Break the spell by understanding what you are. You were trained to act and react in specific ways. Therefore, don't be surprised if you meet with some resistance as you begin to discard your mistaken identity. King Ego, who has been sitting on your throne for so long, has no intention of abdicating. Like a jack-in-the-box that keeps popping up, you must be ready to keep hammering him back down until he stays down for good. Be done with it. Press Ctrl-Alt-Delete and keep on hammering until you free yourself of all illusion. This knowledge, in tandem with self-inquiry, mantra, and meditation, will result in the spontaneous conviction of your true nature. This conviction is self-realization, which means that the illusory ego, the false I, or pseudo-self, has dissolved. And when this happens, there will be permanent, causeless happiness flowing from within. In conclusion, worldly happiness is transitory because it is dependent on a cause and source outside yourself. It is therefore an illusion. When there is the realization that you are the one and only source of happiness, then that happiness is real and permanent because it is spontaneous and causeless. Jai Guru. Just have a little sip. So, and now to a couple of related questions. I have everything going for me, a good job, a lovely wife, and children. Yes, I am happy with all that most of the time, but I still feel that something is missing. Deep down, I am unhappy because I am not fulfilled. So I said, the job, wife, and family are related to worldly happiness. You can't expect these things to bring you complete fulfillment. No one and nothing can give you that. True happiness is causeless. Complete fulfillment can only be found within you. Now that you have accomplished yourself in your work and family life and still feel a lack, you're now looking for something else. That something else you're looking for, that ultimate happiness lies within you. So now you have reached the point where you need to find out who you really are, because it is only by undergoing the search for truth that you will find complete fulfillment. When you know what you are, that you are not the body-mind, that you are unborn, eternal, and the source of happiness and peace, then you will be fulfilled and happy. And this kind of happiness is spontaneous and permanent, Jai Guru. The next one says, I don't feel I deserve to be happy because I am not a good person. So I say, who is saying this? First of all, your statement is not true. The I that is saying this is the false I, and the person you talk about is a concept. You are not that. How can you say you do not deserve to be happy when happiness is your nature? Peace is your nature. Whatever has gone on in your life is illusory. Good and bad are concepts used in the world of duality. You are beyond all duality. Where was this person prior to beingness? And who says you don't deserve happiness? That is the ego talking, and the ego is an illusion. You are not a person, individual, or a separate entity at all. You are formless, eternal, and beyond good and bad. Happiness is not something to acquire. It is your nature. Read Who Am I? It is a very simple book that will help you understand how you developed these wrong notions about yourself, and will show you how to unravel them. Jai Guru. Now, these are unrelated questions, but so a few days back, I was getting strong dreams, actually more like nightmares. Once I imagined I was shot point blank 3 times and woke up with a strong headache. So I started wearing a Rudraksha and Tulsi Mala, and the nightmares have gone, and it's more like dreams, though poignant. Of course, I don't remember them after I awake. Part of the cleaning process, I guess. And I said, Namaste, this is very good. Yes, indeed, it is part of the cleansing process. It is the ego, the pseudo-self, that is being shot, and 3 times just to make sure. Haha. Do not fear. Although these dreams, nightmares can be unsettling, they have a role to play. Layers that you are not aware of being removed during the day are also being removed while you are asleep. Maharaj used to say that occasionally there would be terrible nightmares, and he would see dead bodies surrounding him. All of this is part of the cleansing, clearing out process. Jai Guru. Someone asks, does the ego have to be completely demolished before receiving the Nam mantra? I said the answer is no. The Nam mantra is a powerful tool that helps to demolish the ego. Some seekers who receive it are only beginning the clearing or purification process of dissolving the ego, whereas others are at the end of the process. For those who are spiritually mature and have been following some kind of discipline to hammer the ego for some time, for them, the Nam mantra may remove the last remnants of illusion. It can have the effect of unsticking the remaining sticky layers or concepts. Jai Guru. It depends where you're at in the journey. Is self-realization another way to say the spiritual body has been found? I said, I would not use the term spiritual body. Self-realization is reality. Self-realization simply means that you know who you are in a real sense. You are already realized, but you do not know that. You do not know that you are because of the many illusory layers that are obscuring your nature. These are the superimpositions that are the outcome of our identification with the body-mind, such as concepts, impressions, influences, etc., etc. Jai Guru. What is one simple method that a spiritual seeker can practice or rely on to get and stay unentangled from the overwhelming amount of gurus and methods available? The ego, mind, and intellect seem to get energized by novelty, whether it's worldly or spiritual, which is very true. So I've said, this is a good question. It is true that the mind is always looking for entertainment, and the spiritual seeker can often get lost in the circus of so many so-called gurus and methods. If the seeker has little or no discrimination, unfortunately, he or she may end up following a guru or teacher who's only half-baked, and there are many of those around the world. A guru or teacher can only take you as far as they have journeyed themselves, and many of them just wish to expound second-hand knowledge which they have acquired from books or from others. Second-hand knowledge will not help you. Direct knowledge is the only way forward. Some seekers enjoy guru hopping from one to another. This is the monkey mind at play. In other words, casual spiritual entertainment. One way to be sure that you are with the right guru or teacher is to tune into yourself and see if that teacher resonates with you. Also, as we mentioned before, tune into the energy emanating from the teacher. Is it light-filled, joyful, peaceful, free? Or is it heavy and imposing in a negative sense? Is there humility, etc.? Many seekers could be regarded as wasting their time with the wrong gurus. However, these gurus can also be seen as stepping stones on the way to finding the true guru or sadguru. To go back to your question, what is the one method or practice a seeker can rely on so as not to get lost in the satsang circus? I would say, know that the truth can only be found within you, and avoid teachers who tell you that they can give you self-realization. Most gurus are looking for disciples, but here in this lineage, the gurus like Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramakant Maharaj will say, I am not making you a disciple, I am making you a master. The main distinction to be made here between this lineage and what other gurus teach is that the emphasis is on a practice that will remove the illusory layers of knowledge, whereas other gurus will continue to add more knowledge to the mind. In this lineage, the method is one of self-inquiry, which leads to self-knowledge, and then to self-realization. It is essential to be one-pointed, so that once you have found a guru or teacher and the teachings work for you, then don't allow the mind to take you elsewhere. Stay with that one teacher. Also, look at the evidence. If you can see that you have made progress through following the guidance and practice of one guru, then stay with that guru. Ignore the monkey mind. Jai Guru. Question. It seems like I have died 1,000 deaths in this body, ready to die for the truth. Is the Nam mantra the key to finally waking up, Jai Guru? The Nam mantra is known as the master key. It will help you tremendously because it will assist in the demolition process of the ego and simultaneously replace the ignorance of I am the body-mind with I am ultimate reality. As I said, the Nam mantra is a very powerful and sacred tool, no doubt about that. But don't let yourself believe that it will magically do all the work for you. And remember that everything is illusion, including the Nam mantra. Use it to hammer the ego and help erase the illusory layers. And once it has done its job, you will no longer need to use it. To put it another way, when you know that you are Brahman, then there is no point in you continuing to hammer yourself with the Nam. Jai Guru. I would always wonder why it was working for people in my life at the time and not for me, constantly asking what is wrong with me. Would I even recognize my guru? There was nothing wrong with the masters that I spent time with. When in the company of Satya Sai Baba and his devotees, I felt a lot of love. Then, as you know, Ramakant Maharaj came into my life through the book Selfless Self and You. There was a knowing that he was vital to ending the dream. The Nam mantra is the missing masterpiece. I said, you say you would always wonder why a spiritual path or guru worked for others but not for you, and questioned what is wrong with you, with doubts about your ability to recognize your true guru. This is just the mind talking, the ego playing games with you. You say there was nothing wrong with the masters you spent time with, and that you felt a lot of love. That is all well and good. Feeling love from a guru is very nice and very beautiful. But to get from A to B, from illusion to reality, in order to arrive at the destination, we need a practice, a sadhana, a clear process or method that we can follow in order to know ourselves. We need to shed the old skins of worldly knowledge so that our true nature can be revealed. You say that when Ramakant Maharaj appeared through the book Selfless Self, there was a knowing that he was vital to ending the dream. So here you have answered your own question. This knowing is the resonance. It is your heart speaking to you, saying, yes, yes, it is not the mind. You're at the destination, and hearing about the Nam mantra also clicked with you. So when there is this kind of knowingness, you should always trust it. Don't ignore it. Follow your heart, which is what you did and continue to do so. So well done for trusting yourself and trusting what entered your life at the right time for you. Jai Guru. Here is a question about worldly ambition. If the masters say that there should be no desires, and for example, I do not have my own house or a company that brings me a stable income, will the goal of buying a house and building a company be considered desires? How do you deal with that? And is there a conflict there? And I said, everyone needs to make a living. Ambition and career have to do with worldly affairs. There is nothing wrong in wishing to have one's own home and business. If you can achieve these things, then it is a good thing, a sensible thing. If you're skilled and gifted in what you do, then that is to be admired. As long as there is no greed or attachment, these kinds of worldly aims and goals are absolutely fine. Everything in moderation. There is no conflict at all. Jai Guru. Question. I recently received a call to let me know my uncle is dying. I have always felt more inclined to visit the sick person wherever he is, if she is conscious, to give him or her a hug, say thank you or smile at him. I don't usually attend funerals because I don't find any sense in them. Now that this uncle of mine is about to die, I am once again faced with the dilemma of whether to attend his funeral or not. Although, as I said before, my tendency is not to attend. I would like to know if the masters of the lineage have said anything explicitly regarding this issue. I know that in reality, no one dies because no one is born. The body sickens and dies, nothing more. And I said, Maharaj did not pay much attention if someone was sick or at the end of his life. When Charles, my husband, dropped the body, Maharaj's main concern was that the body was burned quickly. And for me, his concern was that I was to forget that anything was happening and move on quickly. While it is important to be sensitive and compassionate in this situation, at the same time, we know there is no death and therefore there is no need to attend these funerals. No one is born and therefore no one has died. So what is the point of the big funeral and all the tears revolving around an illusory loss, where there is no loss at all? Having said that, there is no harm in going if one wishes, as long as you know it is an illusion and the funeral service is mainly for loved ones to express their feelings. Jai Guru. Question. I am a 41-year-old female body from Mumbai, India, living a human life, married and working in a corporate job. I recollect that since the age of 4 or 5, I have had fleeting realizations of a witness observing the daily activities, and I have found myself looking at my palm and asking myself, who am I? I am at present reading your book, Who Am I? It is so simple that every word resonates with me. I have somehow never pursued this search with passion as much as I am driven to it since the past few months. I have read several books of Shri Nisargadatta, Shri Siddharameshwar Maharaj, and Shri Ramana Maharishi, and now I have come across the website of Shri Ramakant Maharaj. I hold complete faith in the Inchgiri Navnath Sampradaya. I am in tears as I write this email and earnestly seeking to get direct guidance to see the truth. Will you guide me, please? I said, it is interesting, before I answered it, it's interesting to read this message and shows that sometimes in life we can be so engrossed in the world that our spirit seems to lie dormant, maybe for many years, without us giving it much attention. But then suddenly, spirit comes to the fore, surfaces again, and sets us on fire, with that same deep-seated urge that was there maybe decades ago. One could describe these moments of passion and urgency as examples of divine intelligence at work. I answered in this way. It is wonderful to hear that you are driven to find your true identity. There seems to be a quickening. Yes, Who Am I is very simple. After that, I encourage you to read the book Selfless Self, which is very direct and has a lot of power. I was fortunate to spend quality time with Maharaj in Nashik. In answer to your question about guidance, yes, by the grace of Maharaj, I can guide you. Jai Guru. So, another question. The other day, 3 employees stabbed me in the back with comments about my management style. One of them I thought I could trust 100%. Does this awareness cause a reset in the flow of the illusion? It's as if by letting go of me, there are earthquakes in the illusion. At the moment, I feel like letting the hurt arise and trying to just let go. But how can I do that? Because if I say there is no me, then how can I feel someone has hurt me? We are, after all, knowingly or not, the same oneness in a oneness illusion. And the answer is, external things can and do change as you undergo the practice. They can be positive energies or negative energies, all illusion anyway. You can still feel the hurt because the ego has not yet dissolved. You may say that there is no you, but that is just an intellectual statement. The old you is still there. So I suggest you just let the feelings arise of hurt and anger or whatever else. As Maharaj says, these feelings when expressed are just noises, like the barking dog. Jai Guru. This next question comes from a seeker who thinks the Nam mantra is some kind of solution to all problems, as if it acts as a magic wand. She says, I have come to recognize the Nam mantra as the fundamental essence of spiritual knowledge. And I said, this is a misunderstanding. The Nam mantra, like everything else, is an illusion. It is a meditation tool that helps us dissolve illusion. It is the secondary thorn, meaning I am Brahman, that dissolves the primary thorn of I am the body-mind. Yes, it is a great help in the process, but it is certainly not a magic wand. Isn't it funny or sad that we always look for shortcuts for a magic wand to do the work for us? When it comes to spiritual practice, we are generally lazy, unwilling to do the work, and have no staying power. I remember some seekers who had just received the Nam mantra asking Maharaj how long they had to use it for, and others who had used it for only 2 months asking Maharaj if they could stop now. This kind of talk is what Maharaj refers to as casual spirituality and not valuing the sacred Nam mantra. Jai Guru. Question. I wish to ask you about the bhajans. Do I have to continue with the initiation bhajans? And later, will you give me instruction to sing other bhajans daily? And I said, for now, you can sing the initiation bhajans at least once a day, till I explain the sequence of daily bhajans later on. But for now, I wish you to focus and concentrate on the Nam mantra practice for the first couple of months. That is sufficient. Try and keep the 2-hour practice going. It is important not to try and do too much after initiation, when the most important thing is to concentrate using the Nam mantra. As I always tell recipients that the first few weeks and months are extremely important. Why? Because the Nam mantra is fresh, and therefore the hammering of the ego is very effective. So stay with the Nam, and the bhajans can be introduced later on. Jai Guru. Here is a question from a Japanese devotee. Fortunately, Selfless Self was translated into Japanese a few years ago, and with the help of an American devotee residing in Japan, who miraculously speaks fluent Japanese, we are able to conduct initiations with a number of Japanese seekers. So one of them contacted me recently. Here is what he said. Today is exactly 1 year since I received the Nam mantra from you. Over the past year, there has been a big change for me. My consciousness turned more and more inward, and the world gradually became meaningless. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to you. May you be blessed. And I replied, this is wonderful to hear. Happy Nam birthday. The Nam mantra is such a powerful blessing. I am so happy to hear of your transformation and so kind of you to keep in touch and let me know. Jai Guru. It's great to hear from seekers like this one. It often happens that some seekers receive the Nam mantra and then they suddenly disappear. While I appreciate their wish to dive deep, undistracted, and just get on with their practice, it is not a good idea to fly solo in the beginning. Especially after receiving the Nam mantra, it is important to have guidance, as the initial period can be very intense, where lots of things seem to be arising. If one is left to one's own devices, then misunderstandings can occur as to what is actually taking place. And the seeker who has not travelled this road may draw the wrong conclusions. Later on, by all means, go deeper and fly solo, but in the beginning, it is important to check in with your teacher stroke master. Jai Guru. I came across the YouTube video on Nisargadatta's Punyatiti. I could feel your elevated energy yesterday evening, which felt like thought transference. I did not know about these celebrations online, and really sorry I missed it. When do these happen and how can I attend? Please let me know of any other ones, as I feel very at home with these devotional gatherings. I've said our small group tries to follow the Indian calendar and celebrate the important dates of the masters, namely the births, Jayantis, and deaths, Punyatitis, of the masters, and a couple of other dates such as Guru Purnima. You can join us on the social devotion Skype link. These celebrations are very uplifting. We usually have a planning meeting 1 week before to decide the programme and who will read and sing what on that day. What is the significance of these programmes? Well, when all the devotees or disciples of a particular master are celebrating, praying, worshipping, or remembering him, the energy is very strong and concentrated. We can tune into that. These special days offer us an opportunity to go deeper into meditation, as well as to express our gratitude to them for their sacrifices and teachings. And as we watch videos about them and sing bhajans to them, etc., we are recharged by their determination and courage to self-realize. They are examples for us and renew our own determination and courage to reach the destination. Also, many blessings and miracles can happen on these special days. Here it is appropriate to mention that we will be having our planning meeting for Shri Siddharameshwar's Punyatiti next Wednesday, the 1st of November, and the celebrations will take place 1 week later on the 8th of November. Someone will put up a post on the Skype page. Jai Guru. Questioner, let's see. Yes, you may or may not be surprised, but I get quite a number of emails from people asking for the Nam by email. Here is one example. I want to take the Nam mantra. If you teach me, I will work with it as much as I can. Please email it to me immediately. And I promise to always express a huge gratitude for spreading this wonderful teaching of Shri Ramakant Maharaj and the Nishgiri Navnath Sampradaya. So I said, often when I explain that it cannot be done in this way, that we should meet for a preparatory meeting to decide if it is right for him or her, and for my part, to check the person out, these ones usually disappear very quickly. They do not wish to meet at all. So what does that say? It means that they are not really serious and that they do not value the Nam mantra if they expect it to be given by email. And then there are others who seem to resemble coin collectors or stamp collectors. They are mantra collectors. They use all sorts of different mantras already, and then they want the Nam just to add to their collection. Again, this is not acceptable. The Nam is not to be taken lightly. When it is given, it should become the only mantra that is used and should replace all previous mantras. Otherwise, it will not work. Jai Guru. I feel joy at the same time, and at the same time a lot of responsibility when I think that the initiation will be next Saturday very soon. I also feel as if I were going to reach my final destination, as if it were no longer necessary to travel further in length, although it will be necessary to travel in depth. Feeling like this calms me because I think that my body is not going to last long and time becomes even more precious. And I said, you have already reached your destination and all you need do is acquaint yourself with it and make it your home. In a week, you will be part of that eternal lineage family. It is wondrous. The masters and I will be guiding you slowly but surely. Jai Guru. And just about, I think there's one more. So let's see. During a one-to-one satsang, a seeker said about devotion, I'm not really into devotion as I have always been more of an intellectual, cerebral type. So I said, who has always been an intellectual? I would encourage you to remove the resistance to devotion as it has a part to play in the process. You say I am intellectual or cerebral, but that is an illusion to be got rid of. Who is intellectual? You do not exist, so let go of this self-image. You need to understand and practice devotion. Devotion will help you to absorb the knowledge more, and it will also help to demolish the illusory you. I think you're not maybe understanding devotion clearly. It is not a practice that is duality. It is through devotion to the Master or Guru that we can be devoted to selfless self. We are not worshipping an external deity. We are not worshipping the Guru as separate from us, though it appears that we are. As we talked yesterday, you are realizing more and more what non-duality means, what oneness means. There is only one Sadguru, and we are that. So when we bow to the images of the Guru, we are in fact bowing to selfless self, that which we are. Yesterday I could see that your heart was touched. You were moved by our satsang. To keep opening your heart and be touched by the teachings and to enable you to go deeper and deeper within, I encourage you to start practicing a little devotion by bowing to the images of the masters and offering yourself to them. Interestingly, you asked about surrender and how to do it. Well, there is no better way to surrender than to prostrate before the masters. Each time you bow, a little more of the ego is removed. It is not easy to bow when the ego is very strong. But when you begin to bow with your heart, then little by little it will help to weaken the ego until it is no longer an obstacle. We have a lot to thank the Masters for. After all, without them, we would not have this pathless path. We would not know how to self-realize. So please work on humility and permit yourself to bow, surrender, and give yourself over to the Masters. In my case, I feel eternally grateful to Shri Ramakant Maharaj for showing me the way to liberation. The feeling is one of indebtedness, not as a concept, but coming from deep within my heart. It is a sense of never being able to repay Maharaj in kind for what he showed me, gave to me, and that humility ever resides. Jai Guru. Jai Guru. And on that note, we will close. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Thank you for coming.
Jai Guru.
Gracias.
Jai Guru.
Gracias
Jai,
a todos.
Jai Guru. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.